All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Cork Stats, first NFL betting edition of the season. Fastest freaking show in NFL, absolutely anyway. With your boy, Big Johnny Stud. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legasa. Flow, sharpening the razor, same handle over on Substack. Thanks for making me a bestseller over there. $2 a week, get your 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound box. If you're into the baseball thing, well, you've come to the right place. We're also burning the candle on both ends. Man, the football work is just piling up. If you're still doing the fantasy thing, we've got uploadable best ball ranks for Underdog and DK. I'm going to do another re-rack today before putting out the cheat sheet. That'll be out a little bit later on today. We're also really big into the betting streets. We're going to show off some of the advanced tools and statistics. I modeled the entire first week. I think we'll get to that in another one. Today we're going to look at my NFL simulation. I simulated the entire season, put it up on a nice little board to compare it to win-loss totals. Give us an idea of the lay of the land. Again, I'm still testing a lot of the data. I need to make sure once the season hits, everything is moving over and importing and exporting quickly, and before the game start, perfect time to do that. A lot of this, to be honest, I've looked at to double check, like I ran a couple system checks, but I haven't really dove in yet. I don't have that much time, so hopefully you enjoy. We learn something. Maybe walk away with a couple bets or two. Who knows, yo? Ooh, check out that bad boy. Yo, man, my tech lord skills are really coming along. So everything that you see during this video will be stuff that's provided for paid subs on Substack. Really looking forward to it. I think if you're not in tune with the tools, the advanced macro team stats, and especially all the differentials, like I found having a grasp on differentials, EPA per play, EPA per drop back, just everything. We're going to look at that in a little bit. That really kind of upped my game as a better and understanding how these lines are formed. But for today, we're going to be doing more of the macro stuff. Man, I really hope all the data is in check. It looks pretty clean, looking pretty good. And I think you can see my mouse cursor on the screen. So let's start at the very top. Just a quick explainer, right? Going to read like regular standings, win and loss record. Projected wins, these are our precise wins, right? The decimal point or whatever. So I guess you could look past it. This next column is important, though. The Vegas wins, right? So I put Vegas wins meaning like the listed book total, and then next to it is the difference between the two. So just from a glance, I think a good place to start would be with any kind of outliers. I mean, pretty good news. Most of our stuff is keyed in on reality. Betting markets for the NFL are extremely sharp. And though I've been a successful bettor in the past, I think you're always going to do better trying to attack softer markets. I like reception ladders. I like alt team totals, especially on underdogs. And, the reception ladders in particular, the pricing on these is fucking crazy. We'll get into that again in another episode. I'm going to try and keep it going hot and heavy. Again, if you're unfamiliar, I do have a baseball live stream Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. as we get away from baseball into football. I'm going to be doing as much damn streaming as I can. I've already been getting accustomed to doing it every day. I would love to keep a daily kind of show going. There's always something to talk about with football, even if it's kind of a quick one. So, let's see, biggest outlier I have, man, would have to be, looks like the Panthers. My model just absolutely hates the Panthers this year. They have a 7.5 team total, which to me feels really high in its face. I've got them winning just fucking 2 games. All right, let's go. Yeah, let's go to the videotape. I mentioned the differentials. I'll kind of show you how to use this stuff also. First column is game number. So I find, again, you could tell just from the sheets, I think being organized makes everything a lot easier. It's a lot of data and a lot of information. You want to sit at the computer and hit the ground running, right? That's what you're paying for. This shit is ready for you, everything formatted, 10th and 90th percentile. Now, when I mentioned game number, I mean, if you sort the column A through Z, it'll put the next week's games in order, right? New England's at Seattle. San Fran is at the Rams. Saints at the Lions. The Lions. so on and so forth, to, again, just give you that, especially with the differentials. I think it's really helpful to see everything next to each other. This is something I started doing in baseball like a couple of years ago, and it just makes a lot of sense. Like, it's weird that people are not doing that. So I guess we could start with Patriots and Seahawks. Man, a lot of points per game, good defenses, strong point differentials. Again, I mentioned plays per game, yards per play diff. And it's funny, the Seahawks, the EPA per play, not great. They were really great in EPA per dropback and pass yards per pass attempt differential. Again, the play action game is going to boost that stuff. Explosive play, very good for the Seahawks also. Interesting to see, that right off the bat, hard to pick them. Again, I'm already kind of tempted to start looking at this week one. We're not really trying to do that. I just wanted to show all the differentials next to each other and how they can help to, set our comparison straight. Because I think that's, again, that jumping off point, I think it's like really, really, really important. But just as important, I think, are the macro stats, right? If we're looking for it. Now let's get into that again. I had mentioned Carolina and immediately went to week one. But that same sorting, works again across all the tools. So I guess we could have gone alphabetical here since we had a single team pointed out. Why does the model hate Carolina so much? Well, the macro stats for the offense kind of speak for themselves. Just over 18 points a game, below 60 plays a game, below 300 yards a game, just 5 yards per play. Too many turnovers, they move too slow. I use average clock at snap. There's a lot of ways to do hustle. I don't think there is a uniform one, but I think, especially with the big sample, clock at snap, I think, covers a lot of it. And, that's going to get you the good time of possession per drive, which can be tricky. But I think these drive and macro stats speak a lot also. 1.8 points per drive for the Panthers. They just didn't really do anything. They tried to run the ball, didn't do it effectively, couldn't get yards after contact for shit. Chuba was kind of gross. John Brooks going to come in to hopefully boost the efficiency stuff there. How much volume can you really ask for? I think the model rightfully kind of questioning the sustainability from the run game here. Total lack of explosive rushes, single digit 20 yards attempt the entire season. And then if this team kind of falls behind, passing stuff is gross across the board. I do like Ted McMillan, and I think if they begin to use him in more creative fashions, getting him in the slot will really help. I'm very low on Bryce Young. We'll get into the quarterback stuff in a second. This is macro passing, and he was playing most of the season. But still, 195 passing yards a game, below 6.5 YPA, below 6 3/4 air yards per attempt. Just entirely too low for a team that's consistently behind. Let's flip over to the defensive side. Right, again, you'll notice the templates are pretty much the same. I have different color backgrounds to trigger. Again, everything I do, I think fast, I talk fast, I fucking move fast. We all have to move fast. That's the name of the game. So I think being neat is really important. I use the color as a signal. So I have gray is offense. If you see the pale yellow, that's defense. The light blue is the algo. Just so, again, you won't be looking at like the wrong stuff because, right, there's success rate on offense, but success rate on defense. Yards per play in both directions, right? It's really important that we're not kind of crossing signals, right? You don't want to cross the streams, you know what I mean? So, Carolina on defense, and this is supposed to be like, a strong suit for them because they're not very good. Hold on, you got to forgive me 1 second. Give me 1 second to just clear this out. I was moving data, and I don't know if there's any spreadsheet honks out there. Sometimes it'll import like the 10,000 cells, and it ruins the little scroll bar. So my OCD is satisfied, and we're back in the game. The Panthers just completely inefficient on defense. Yes, they got some 3-and-outs, and I think that's important. However, having one of the worst average drive distances allowed, being on the wrong side of time of possession per game. The rushing stuff was just terrible. They didn't stuff the run at all. They were pretty good getting that first tackle to get the finish, but still too many explosive runs. Really hard to believe in this. Let's look at the passing stuff. Again, hopefully everyone is, taking a peek from their computers and looking up at the tools. I think, again, once we're in season, having very quick access to all this stuff right when you want it, knowing how to sort it and how to read it, gives you just an immediate leg up. Where are you going to get access to all this shit for so cheap? Panthers, bad on an EPA per dropback. They allowed too many completions at too high of a yards per attempt. Why? Again, I like to use both tackle success in my pressure and splash plays together. Think of splash plays as like everything good. It's a TFL, it's a pass defended, it's a third and short stop, it's a fourth and short stop. It's just good defensive plays, right? Big defensive plays matter. With NFL stats, unlike baseball where there are individual matchups where we can get granular, I think it's important to have more encapsulating or like amalgamated stats, I've called them before. And just none of it was there. They didn't get to the QB, they didn't get sacks, they didn't get pressure. You're not converting pressures into sacks when you get them. And you're just kind of getting picked on. They tried, this is the Panthers that is moving over into alignment. Again, I like to think, similar to my baseball fan will tell you, yeah, we have a lot of data, yes, it's a lot of numbers, but we try and have numbers that will speak to you. So the more I kind of dive into this, and the way the Panthers were trying to beat people, with like almost exclusively playing zone, with a lot of like 4DB stuff while you're behind all the time, trying to play 4DB cover 3, I just not seeing it. Then I also have some fantasy stuff. It can help for NFL also, because there is a little bit of crossover, especially if you're prop betting, where running backs just housed him because the game scripts are really bad. I like to look at, again, prop betting, like QB rush yards, RB receptions, tight end receptions, because that's where those reception ladders really start to pay off. So long story long, when we're looking at the Panthers, again, remember, I build the model, but think of it like a paper airplane. You build it, directionally, you kind of know where it's going to go, and after you build enough of them and you're happy, it's not because you could stick the thing in a bullseye 50 yards away, right? That's not how paper airplanes work. It's not a sniper rifle. It's a cannon. So we're trying to be correct directionally. Picking games on a 1 week basis is nearly fucking impossible. Trying to predict the entire seasons, you're just like, it's like exponential variance. So all you can do, I think, is keep it simple, look at it on the macro, and keep in mind that this is what this team looks like before, like, injuries and stuff. It's really gross for the Panthers. Now, I guess I could share this also. How did this come on? Not bad. Again, I'm tech lording people. Yo, give it up, man. Give it up for the kid. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like to look at the roster grid, right? If we're going to be talking wins and losses, you got to think that matters. I guess I could blow it up one more time for you. Carolina starts with the Bears. Tough match. Goes to Atlanta. Maybe you win that one, maybe. The problem is with the Panthers is like, you could lose that one, and it's like, uh-oh. Go into Cleveland. You'd like to think they win that one. Going to be hard to match with the firepower of Detroit. Going to be hard to keep up with Philly, Tampa, Green Bay, Denver, even New Orleans, Baltimore, more Tampa, Minnesota. Not sure what that'll look like. Where are these wins? New Orleans is not the pushover they once were. I think Carolina could play with New Orleans. I think New Orleans is better. I like the quarterback play. I like the coaching. They actually brought in a functional running back. I think, despite not being like in crazy love, you know what? Let's transfer over to the Saints now, because the Saints are another one of those outliers. Basically, then Carolina wraps up. Bengals, Steelers, Seahawks, back to the Falcons. 2 wins is really low. It is really low. But like I said, I not really arguing it too much, except Vegas has 7.5. So can we split the difference? And listen, I'll take the L. I'll take the L in the 2. I'll go back to the drawing board with Claude and tell it that 2 wins for the Panthers is probably a little bit too low. Okay. I just want to make sure that I actually have that. Yeah, that's what I got. I got 2-15. I should have closed the Claude bot before I even signed on. The fucking thing eats up crazy RAM. Anyway. I gotta be under. Oh my gosh, like we are way under 7.5. I still can't believe that number. And you hate to be like that. That number is minus 136. To go under 7.5 for the Panthers, I don't know where. Can someone tell me where 7.5 wins come from? 7.5 wins means, I mean, like legit, to get to 8 wins. You're beating Atlanta. You're beating Cleveland. Let's see if we can get the easy ones. You beat the Saints. You beat the Vikings. I mean, you beat the Saints twice. And you beat Atlanta twice. That's only 6. And you have to win all those. And you're either beating the Bears, the Lions, the Eagles, Tampa, the Broncos, the Packers. I'm sorry, I don't see it. So I'll take a half a loss on maybe the model coming in a little bit too low. So I did build in, like, I'm not sure how to put this, because this is something that I learned modeling baseball, which is really, really, really makes you better at all this stuff. Remember, baseball re-racks every day. So, like, the efficiency of data and understanding and processing plus execution that you have to be betting MLB and modeling every day, things really slow down for NFL. And what I learned is there's like a separation as game score deviates. Like once a team is ahead, and I find in particular with a favorite, that tends to widen as you go through the game. You know, and I think that same principle happens through a season. Like a bad team down bad then experiences all the normal injuries and setbacks that normal teams go through, where you could see, I'm not trying to argue for 2 wins necessarily, that you could go, they'll actually let you bet that. Holy shit, it's plus 1,800 to go under it. And I never really thought about like an under ladder for Carolina. I'd probably start it under 5.5 is plus 245. I don't think they get there. So I actually like this. The Carolina loss ladder. We're gonna be looking to climb that bitch, or I don't climb it down. Do you climb down? Yeah, I guess you climb down a ladder. I should know that as a former electrician. Under 4.5 is plus 425. Under 3.5 is plus 800. Under 2.5 is plus 1,800. Shit, you could rack that entire bitch. So let's go back to the standings. Oh, that was a pretty easy kind of crossover. Go me. Thank you. Survey says you're not all bad at this, Johnny boy. If you're digging the stream, like and subscribe. The shit matters more than it should. You jump over to Twitter. That's my handle down there. You could check out the work. Also on Substack, the pinned post, like that headline post, has samples of all the stuff you could see. I'm trying to show it off as we go. Oh, I meant to go through some of the player stuff if you're looking up on the board right now. Again, all the stats are sortable. And Bryce Young was just fucking terrible. I wasn't trying to jam this guy, but he fucking sucks. He throws too many picks. Yeah, he's on target because the A-dot is so freaking low. I don't know. He just can't figure. I don't know. He can't see over the line. You know what I mean? Can we just call it what the fuck it is? Again, he's just never going to be there. The passer rating is too low. He also doesn't run. He's not particularly effective deep. You get sacks. The sacks are actually bad. I just added this one to the board, and I think it's pretty helpful. It's yards lost per sack. That absolutely matters. Bryce Young was at 7.5. He's terrible against the blitz. They take too many hits. They're not good operating fast out of the no huddle stuff. It's just really whack. The Panthers suck, man. It's a wrong answer. So, obviously, 2 wins is extremely low. But I don't think it's outlandish at plus 18 to 1. I think I'm going to get a piece of that under 5.5. So let's keep going with these all totals. That was kind of cool. Now, I mentioned the Saints, and I know they're one of the biggest positive outliers on the board. Model loves the Eagles also. They're projected for 10.5. When I say projected, I mean the line is 10.5. I have them at 13. But let's go down to the Saints also. This one a little more palatable. I've got 7.5 wins for the Saints. I'm looking at DK, by the way, which DraftKings never has the best fucking prices. But they do have really cool, like, the board is easy to read, and they have all, like, the scaling alt stuff. So Saints are at 7.5 minus 120, 8.5 plus 150. I don't think I'm going to go to triple-digit wins. I think I have them as an 8-win team. Model is a hair above that at 10. Which again, I didn't like go through and, I don't like this, so it's too high. That's not how I do these things. Again, I've learned just modeling stuff with baseball. Sports are incredibly variant. And a lot of times you should just have confidence in your work. There's going to be times where you're wrong, and that's what it is. And there's going to be times where that thing that you were going to change because you couldn't believe how off-kilter it seemed ended up being the fucking best call and insanely profitable. So, right, I wouldn't recommend betting. I wouldn't bet minus 150 to get the Panthers on the 3 wins, but for fucking plus 1,800, I'd probably get a sniff. As far as the Saints go, I don't think the offer to go up to 10 wins plus 260 is that crazy. However, with that said, right, big shaking butt. All of a sudden, my 10-win simulation doesn't seem that crazy if it's only plus 260. So I'm going to just let this rock and roll. It is what it is. I'm going to keep this. We'll grade it at the end and see how we did. Thank you to the Claude bot, for, again, I don't let AI fucking think for me, and I don't even let it model for me. I just let it check the math. It's really good. It's really, really good at double-checking math and finding holes where you might. And that was something that it found in baseball. And I guess this might work for football also. A little harder with football, the moving pieces, lack of individual matchups. But, again, that split that I mentioned, the model, or the Claude bot, I should say, found in my back test that I was a lot more accurate through the first half than I was on the full game because I failed to account for that deviation that I mentioned before. So this, again, could work for the Saints in reverse. When you find an answer at quarterback in the NFL, that's like the most important thing. When you also have it happen within like a mind meld with the coach, which usually goes together like lamb and tuna fish. Not always, but it was the case, right? Moore, Briggs, and Shuck, they kind of took shit about the draft capital. That ended up looking like it might have been right at first, right? He couldn't beat out Rattler to begin the year. Halfway through the season, Shuck gets the nod, ends up looking like the clear, correct choice. The sample of defenses was small, and the defenses they faced were not great. That said, quarterbacking is fucking tough, and we've had guys like Bryce Young that are #1 pick suck for years, and we make up fucking excuses for them. So, like, when a guy comes, starts to play well, shows improved EPA per dropback, decision-making ability, and that wherewithal to kind of know when to tuck and run, looking at you, Tyler Shuck, who is pretty freaking good. I guess that's a pretty good time to bring up the Shuck stats. Again, all these things are all built for speed. Everything very easy to find, very easy to read. Listen, my man was very accurate. Shuck had a 68% completion percentage. Passer rating, I think, for a rookie over 90 is good. 7.3 YPA, over 8 yards per attempt. We'd like to see him get the ball to the sticks a little bit more. But again, 1/3 or 33% first down per attempt rate is pretty good. He protected the football. He was good against man. He knew to throw to the wide receivers. RB target rate was low. I think that will pick up this year. Remember, the RB situation for the Saints was disgraceful. Say what you want about Travis Etienne, formerly Etienne, whatever. With an answer at running back, that absolutely helps everybody. Plus, he showed, again, they drew up design rushes for him. He was affected, ran for first downs, ran for touchdowns. He'll challenge deep. Also, again, there's a lot to like under the hood for Tyler Shuck. We could look at the offensive stuff, macro side for the Saints as well. And this is where I think it really starts to look good. Again, they didn't score a ton, but again, you got the Rattler stuff in there. The stuff that we are looking for. They ran more than 63 plays a game. They were one of the fastest moving. clock almost at 12, more than 6 plays a drive. Like, this is kind of the stuff that we're looking for. The inputs on the macro side that will hopefully get us there with a step forward from decent quarterback play. Now, there's a lot of if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a wonderful fucking Christmas. But again, there's going to be a level of variance baked into this stuff. This is just what it is, right? It is what it is. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. So I've got the Saints for 10 wins, man. The more I look at it, I think I'm fucking sticking to it, man. Let's take a look at the defense really quick before we dive into the schedule. Again, I do like the over play, but I'm not sure I like the pricing on the latter. And I also know for a fact that I don't love, I know I don't love hanging a 130 on the line for 6 months. Like, I don't do that. And it's one of the reasons I'm not usually like a big futures bettor. And see, they won't let you parlay them either. Because I've tried it. Like, if I could, I would. Like, I put together a piece here. I wonder if anybody lets you do that. I was just trying to pair, Carolina under 7.5 with Saints over 7.5. Which, again, I think are correlated. I think the Saints get 2 wins against the fucking Panthers. Now, to the defense really quick. Again, Saints defense, I don't think they got enough credit. One of the few teams in the league to be at a 4.8 or below yards per play. One of the few teams in the league to have a defensive success rate over 57%, or an EPA per play over 0.06, average drive distance below 28. They had over 40 third and outs. They were one of the few teams to keep other teams in a single-digit explosive play rate. They were very good against the run. They were good against the pass. They were one of the best tackling teams in the league. I think tackle success is probably worth the cost of admission alone. They got to the quarterback. They converted sacks to pressure, one of the best sack to pressure rates in the league. Again, New Orleans, I don't think they're a bad team. So, yes, I know it's funny. Like, yeah, Dick, you built the model, obviously. But again, I don't tell it what to say. I put in the inputs. Some surprise me to the upside. Some surprise me to the downside. New Orleans is definitely a team I'm bullish on. I'm 1,000% bullish on them. Let's take a closer look at the schedule. It's a rough start, man. Going to Detroit, going to Baltimore, probably losing them both. I think you beat the Raiders. I think you could beat the Falcons. Vikings are going to be iffy. It'll be interesting to see how Kyler Murray kind of matures into that situation. I mean, last time we saw him, he wasn't great. And all of a sudden, last time we saw the KOC offense, it wasn't great. All this could be explained with McCarthy sucking. I'm not sure. Minnesota defense is good. That one could be a rock fight. New Orleans goes to the Giants. I think they could beat the Giants. How good is Malik Neighbors? I don't know. They have to play Pittsburgh. Oh, wait, let's say Pittsburgh wins. I'm not so high on the Pittsburgh offense. I think they move slow as shit. But then it gets a little bit easier for a couple weeks. Off the bye, I think New Orleans beats... Oh, I should have been keeping track of this. Beating Vegas, beating Falcons. I think you got one of two Giants or Vikings. I think you get Cleveland and Carolina again. Let's say you lose to the Bears, you lose to the Bengals, you lose to the Packers. Again, I just think they're a superior team to the Panthers. I think you beat the Cardinals. Let's say you drop the other one to the Falcons. I think you get one of two of Tampa. So, there's your 8 wins right there without, running hot and without surprising anybody, right? Because you could beat the Steelers, for sure. Could beat the Steelers. Nobody wants to hear this shit. Nobody wants to hear this shit. The Saints can beat the Lions week 1. The Lions are vulnerable. The offense is awesome. If New Orleans can find a way to just stunt them a little bit, Detroit might not be able to stop New Orleans or at least give them an opportunity to hang around. You're going to have the fast track. I think New Orleans could be comfortable playing there. I wonder if that'll be a popular survivor pick and some of the bad chalk. Now, I wasn't showing off, or I hadn't clicked on the model yet. That's what you're looking at. Week 1 model. Let's sort by game order. Again, everything always really easy. There's New Orleans, Detroit. 6.5 point favorite at home. I like that, yo. I like that. Though, funny enough, the model does have Detroit for a cover. week 1. Again, just because we have the Saints to win, this is obviously not one of them. That is something I also made sure not to call anybody out, but you can't believe how freaking often it happens where, sorry to give you the fucking fat faccia bruta, but like some messages really are worth the full focus, yo. Please, I implore you, because I also do in-season projections. We're going to do in-season optimal 150s also. They're fantastic. They really are. I have a really good calculator, and I think that while they're not better, I don't pretend to be. I don't pretend to be better than ETR or RTS. I do think, for the cost and the amount of work that goes into them and how accurate they are, they probably should be a part of anybody. Like, if you're subscribing to that for an extra fucking $2 a week, you should throw mine on and look for differences, because that's what we've had success. Right, looking for outliers from mine to the kind of public-facing ones, looking for differences, then diving in to see if we like the reason why. Anyway, back to the matter at hand was, and those two sites are very good with this. This is why they're the gold standard, where you have to be careful with any fucking yo-yo out there doing projections. You can't believe how often they don't add up, right? The sum of the parts has to equal the whole. Meaning, and this is more fantasy people, and sorry if you're one of these people, fix your shit, bro. You know what I mean? That shit is not on me.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
If your wide receiver numbers don't total your passing yard number, you fuck something up. And if you were to look at some of the fantasy projections out there, I like to look at passing yards. The reason I mention that is because I'm very clear about my process, right? I'm what you call honest. I'm what you call fair. I'm also smart, I think, because when I started doing my own naked projections, the best place to look for validation is in betting markets. Those are sharp. They're not gospel, but they are fucking sharp. And what did I find? Like all the other fucking fantasy herbs, every single pass projection was over the Vegas line by 40 fucking yards. Go look. Look, you can't believe, when you look at the betting totals, the passing yard totals, I mean, how many are at 185 and 207? And that dog don't hunt. If you've got 3 wide receivers going for 85 yards and the tight end's getting 40, plus some running backs getting 45, it's like crazy. And when I started anchoring my player projections to the passing yard total, that's really the only thing I do. Everything else I have kind of calculations and models for. But I found once I just anchored it, it's not, I don't use it. It's not the only number. I'll be up and down, but similar to modeling stuff, I don't think when you're modeling a football game, if you're more than like 4 points off the fucking spread, I think you're doing it wrong. There are quants that'll tell you, if you're more than 1 point or 1% off the... Yo, shut the fuck up. Seriously, that's such fucking bullshit. That means you're so weighted to the model, you're disallowing yourself to ever be different and therefore sharp. I'm sorry, that is a fucking fact. There are so many variables. I play with these things. I don't want to hear it. We hear it with baseball all the time. If you're more than a run off the distance, you're doing it wrong. You're arrogant. No, you're not. It's fucking ridiculous. Really, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Now, I'm drawing a line. I'm not saying you should be 13 fucking points off an NFL line. You're probably doing it wrong. But again, where people say the line is 1 or 2 points, to me, it's probably like 4 or 5 points. I'm okay. If I'm 5 points in the over, I'm over the fucking game. That's fine. Honestly, that really upsets me. And these same people, of course, have no ability to predict the future, but they talk to you. They actually talk down to us, right, as if they can. So that same thing happens with passing yard markets. I don't want to be more than like, I don't know, 50 yards over. If I'm more than 50 yards over, you're doing something wrong. Or you should be betting your fucking testicles, on that over. And that's another one, right? For the fantasy herb that has 15 quarterbacks over their passing total, you would think he'd be parlaying all 15 because he knows so fucking much. Of course they're not. Because a lot of times they're full of shit. They don't double check their math or ever kind of think about it under this lens. But I promise you, it's what matters and it's what's important. So, yeah, hopefully, we're showing off a little bit of the, process here and why you like to hook up with us. I like to think we're like the fucking dark sheep here. Like, I feel like the diamond in the rough that's been undiscovered. again, I don't have the means to go up against ETR. I don't have the means to go up against like a fantasy point status suite. But I'm also a one-man band and like exponentially fucking cheaper. And also, I don't have the influence that they do. And I think we use that to our advantage. You know, I have fantasy football episodes where I just argue with other content creators that are too big to pay any attention to me. But because they take big stands and other people follow in their wake, like there's opportunities a lot of times. So you have to do the same thing with markets. Just keep yourself in fucking check. So hopefully that all came out pretty good. You know, I felt pretty good about that. We had a little bit of the first thing. Thanks, man. All right, so let's dive back into the standings and see what we can see. Already identified a couple plays, you know, that we really like. And, you know, let's just look for the rest of the outliers, right? Then maybe we could dive in. I just wanted to show off some of the tools and a little bit of my data stuff. Make sure it's looking clean, make sure it's looking crisp, and how it can be set to, like, the whole thing. And again, this is a lot of it's based in MLB. Again, tons of stats, tons of work to do. We need to be efficient with our time. A lot of us have real families and real lives, other jobs and shit. So I'm building this for you, right? That you could sit down on Saturday morning or, heaven forbid, Sunday morning and feel like you have a leg up for the relative time left. I really, truly believe in that. And I think if you're trying to do this shit on your own, I think you're doing it wrong. Right? Let me do the dirty work so you don't have to. All right. Let's just go division by division, and then I'm going to try and get out of here soon. So we've got Buffalo over by a win. Again, shouldn't ever be too hard to see how Buffalo gets there. Couple tough starts out of the gate, and I think that's going to be the big thing. Because Buffalo's at Houston versus Detroit, versus the Chargers, versus the Patriots, at the Rams. Holy crap, that's a fucking gauntlet, yo. Then it gets a little bit easier. They go to Vegas before the bye. But then it's Ravens, Vikings. Then it gets a little bit easier, Jets and Dolphins. But like Chiefs, Pats, Packers, man, Model may want to rethink just how difficult of a schedule is. But yeah, I think the way this works, and I think, again, right, we used all the look-ahead lines, so, you know, a lot of this is well calculated for. Just that you're going to get coin flip wins. Buffalo's that kind of team. Josh Allen is that dude. So we've got, again, it's only a win and a half, you know, at the 12 instead of the 10 and a half. Miami, we've got Miami at 6. And that's interesting, and I think that makes sense. We're just expecting, or I'm expecting, or I guess I'm projecting my feelings on this, and everybody else for what it's worth, that I think Malik Willis is going to be serviceable, at least. Funny, especially for the fantasy herbs out there. We just spent years getting our dicks knocked in, chasing fucking Anthony Richardson and Justin Fields after succeeding wildly on Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. To me, the answer is not that running quarterbacks don't matter anymore. It's that bad running quarterbacks don't matter anymore. I don't know if Willis is that. I know everyone is really trying to just dogpile them. It's the worst receiving unit ever. I'm not so sure about that. It's young. I don't know if it's the worst ever. And maybe more importantly, right, so yes, I think Willis is good. I think the offensive line is very good. And I think Devin Achane, the original Achane, I think is a game-breaking, ridiculous fucking talent in this league. There aren't many like him. There are very few players I'll take on a talent level basis before him. And then you have like, well, they're getting away from McDaniel, and it's maybe that could work for the better. Right? We were kind of killing him for a little while. All that motion stuff that he was addicted to with Tyreek Hill stopped working, and then maybe they just have to rethink it. And there's a problem with pattern matching, and this, and I get all we have is history to base things off of. But we shouldn't disqualify the chances of out-of-the-box thinking, which is not that crazy when you just say, all right, we're going to try and center this offense. To me, it's very telegraphed as far as the skill sets go. To me, we're going to be looking at more RPO stuff than people are imagining, where the two main weapons, the two main cogs of the offense are Malik Willis and Devin Achane. They're going to be handling a lot of the kind of net yardage, where I think you could be getting, again, run-pass option stuff, which could allow for, right, catch and release from Dulcich, which I think is the only thing that he's really good at, is creating a mismatch with created time to give him a chance to shoulder shake and get yak. Listen, you can say what you want about Dulcich. He's a fucking yak monster. How do you create yak unless it's either drawn up in the playbook. I don't know if you're going to get like superior play calling here, but also it's through broken plays, right? So athleticism tends to rise to the top the longer the play goes, and like this extends to Willis. Then you have young pass catchers like this kid Chris Bell is now practicing, supposed to be really good. Caleb Douglas is impressing, supposed to be really good. I think we know what we've got with Malik Washington. But again, if we're talking about it, this just isn't as bad as people think. So Miami really catching a lot of strays with this number, right? They're at 3.5. It's minus 140, so it's kind of expensive to get to the 3.5. Goes to plus 140 to 5 wins. That feels like it could be kind of feasible. Let's roll down the Miami, see if we can count off how many wins. I think they can beat the Raiders. You're losing to the Niners. You're losing to the Chiefs. Man, see, I think they could give the Vikings a game. Let's say they lose to the Vikings and the Bengals. I think they give the Jets a game. Maybe they lose that too. You lose to the Patriots. You lose to the Lions. You lose to the Colts. You lose to the Bills. It's a tough schedule. I mean, can we beat the Jets once? I think you beat the Jets once. Then you lose to Denver, lose to the Bears, lose to the Packers, lose to the Chargers, lose to the Bills, and you lose to the Patriots. Man, this schedule is crazy hard. Oh, man, it's crazy hard. It is crazy hard. Now, I don't have it. I do have it. I don't have it on hand, which is the actual, what do I call it, game log. Right, so I have the standings, but I don't have the actual readout. I'm curious who we have Miami getting those 6 wins off of. Well, I guess I could tell you it's probably the Jets, because we have the Jets only modeled for 5 below their win total at 5.5. Maybe we get in 2 wins. Maybe it's got to be, if I had to guess, it's Raiders, Vikings, maybe 2 Jets. I wonder if it's the Colts, because I think the other teams are too good. You know, anybody could win on any given Sunday. There's a reason we say that. But I think the more I look at this, I probably disagree. I don't love the Dolphins' defense this year. They were inefficient, had the trouble stopping the run. They had some trouble in the secondary also. So that'll be yet to be seen. Maybe this line is fair, which is fine also. I just tend to think when you have like playmakers, especially the quarterback side, that just kind of wins out. And we could see them line up against the Vikings and go, wow, the Dolphins are a lot better than the Vikings this year. Maybe. I mean, it's not crazy that Murray sucks. I think it is. It's not possible that like maybe we jump the shark with Jordan Mason and there isn't like a really great running back on the Vikings, and then you have to rely on Kyler Murray to win it with his arm, where maybe that doesn't happen. So I don't want to auto glaze the Algo, the simulation I should say, because again, if I had to make my call looking at the schedule, we're not getting the Marlins. The Dolphins are not getting to 6. Okay, over AFC North, we've got the Ravens overperforming. They're 10.5. You know, again, I think that's easy to see why. Healthy season from Lamar Jackson. I really like the defense. Colts, Saints, Cowboys. They get the Titans. They get the Falcons, Browns. I mean, again, maybe do you lose one of those? The Ravens could get out to a 6-0 start before facing Bengals, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Chargers. That's a really tough run. But if they're going to lose all 4, probably not. You probably win 2. Maybe they win 1. Then they go to Carolina. I think they win. They go to Houston. I think they could win. Maybe that's tough defensively. But then Tampa, Steelers, Browns. Again, I just think they're a better team than all these. So I like Lamar to win the day. If Lamar goes down, then, it's a horse of a different color. I've got Steelers right on the line. I've got the Bengals a little bit below. Be interested to see how the offensive line steps up. And maybe if we get any love from the defense this year. That's a line that I think I'm doing like the stinky face about. No. It looks like I'm wrong here. That number is actually moved. Sorry, I didn't re-scrape that win total. 10.5, 9.5. All right, it's like it's weird. I was having an argument with the Claude about this. Right, it's win totals are not like set standard regular overs where there's a minus 110 that we can call like the number. So it's 10.5 or it's 9.5. It depends on the pricing, right? The 10.5 is plus 115, and the 9.5 is minus 160. I think that's probably right. That's the number it grabbed. Was I think I told it to favor the negative, right? The negative price. Curious with this Bengals schedule: Bucks, Texans, Steelers, Jacksonville, Dolphins. Are there 3 in there? There's probably 3 wins in there. Everyone's talking about this Bengals week 1 thing. I think that's so fucking stupid. Then they go Baltimore, Tennessee, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, could win 3 or 4. Washington, Saints, Cleveland, KC, should win 3 or 4. At least 2 or 4. Carolina, Indy, Baltimore, Cleveland, at least another 2 to maybe 3. So maybe I'm wrong about Cincy. Also, unless what I think, I think what happens is I think models pick up on good defenses, and I think where I was just like, maybe they win this one, the model's like, nah. Pittsburgh probably gives them a tougher time than we think. Jacksonville gives them a tougher time than we think. Houston gives them a really tough time. Right, same for Baltimore. Again, double pit, maybe even the Saints. Like Cleveland may completely fall off, but definitely the Chiefs, right? So as I look at it again, maybe I am a little bit closer to the line. Again, we're kind of splitting hairs a little bit. I didn't mean to get too deep into the weeds, Cleveland were right on the line. I kind of doubt it. I'm surprised the model's even at 6. Again, I'm a quarterback guy, so I don't get that one. Again, model loves defense. Houston, we have overperforming at 11 wins. Jacksonville, right on the nose. Colts, kind of right on the nose, maybe a win over. Tennessee, really shitty. See, again, we have another kind of floor case, like a negative ladder on the Titans. Titans minus 120, under 6.5 wins. I think they could be fucking terrible also. Just terrible. Kind of similar to the Panther numbers we were looking at before. Ward's been fucking gross. Look at these Titans stats just really quick. I didn't want to do this again, but Titans offense, terrible points per game, terrible yards per play, 4.4 yards per play, worse than success rate, worse than EPA per play. They had one of the worst drive efficiency collections. They were like the worst running team. They were like the worst passing team. What changed? We're going to see a leap forward. I just saw a video of Cam Ward holding the ball like a fucking loaf of bread. He got strip sacked. I think they could be terrible, terrible, terrible. Tennessee, Jets, Eagles, Giants, Baltimore. You have to beat the Jets. If not, you could go 0-4. Got to beat the Giants. Same. Because then it's Texans, Colts, Browns, and Bengals. Maybe you're beating the Browns. Maybe. Hopefully. Jacksonville, Cowboys. Jacksonville Commanders, 4 losses if Jaden Daniels is healthy. Lions, Colts, Raiders. Maybe beating the Raiders. Pittsburgh and Houston. You can see where that line to me is entirely too high. We're on the under for Tennessee also. I can't help but wonder if DK has best and worst. I may have to oh shit, I think I had it. Yeah, I haven't really dug around. Yeah, you can. Okay. Fewest wins. You would think we're near the favorites. Wow, they're not. So Carolina and Tennessee are both at least 17-1 for fewest wins. Though I think I'd rather bet the latter side because it removes the extra variables of other teams. Meaning, let's say we hit the plus 600 on the under 5 wins or whatever. Who cares if Arizona only wins 1 or something like that? We want to hit on thinking our team is going to lose a lot of games, not necessarily be the worst. Because again, that just invites a little bit more variance than I want to give credit to. Speaking of the Cardinals, we're right at the same 4 wins. So, per the model, we'd love that Carolina bet. We'd love the Tennessee bet also to go under. So let's get through the NFC really quick, and then I'm going to go. Maybe I'll come back with another. I don't think I'm going to do another win-loss episode. We're going to have to come back for a week 1 episode. We'll comb through the model. We'll look for holes. I'll make sure to revamp all the lines and stuff to make sure all that stuff is fresh. Again, I'm not the biggest win-loss guy because I hate to hang, again, like I mentioned, I hate to hang this money on the fucking shelf for 6 months. But, if you're going to get pieces of, old favorites and shit at plus money, like, that's worth it. I'm very interested in those ladders. So let's see if anything else kind of rings true. Again, we're a little higher on the Eagles. The overs don't seem to pay as well. We're way lower on the Giants. Now, that's interesting also. That seems to be where the pricing is going under on these alt totals. Giants under 5 is plus 600. I mean, they can't lose. They can't only win 5 games. Dallas, Rams, Titans, Cardinals. I guess you're planning on them winning 2. Commanders, Saints, Houston. I don't think they get any of those. Eagles, Commanders, Jags, and Colts. You may not get any of those. Niners, Seahawks, Browns, and Lions. You may get the fucking Browns. Then Dallas and the Eagles. It's very easy to see how the Giants are ass this year. And I like Dart, you know what I mean? And I think Neighbors is even going to be okay. I worry about the health in the running back room. I think Scatterbo is good. I think his style of play coming off that injury is really dangerous. I think fucking Najee Harris is washed. And Tyrone Tracy has got Dart killed. One more play like that, you're going to be on the bus to fucking Tuscaloosa. So, yeah, Giants have a good floor case also here. We've got Detroit over, man. I'm worried about the defense. I'm surprised with all the defensive kind of leanings the model seems to have that we have Detroit winning so many games. We're way under on the Bears. Ooh, that's kind of a sexy fucking play. The Bears are, one of the kind of industry favorites. Though, again, the model and the book pricing, not that far off. Right? We're at 6 wins. All total under 7, it's plus 425. Like it's something, but it ain't like a long shot, right? Plus 425 is not a long shot. It shit happens. People get all crazy. I can't believe I lost. That was hit. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Shit, I was really trying to get derailed. It's got to be defense on. Yeah, that Chicago defense fucking sucked, man. They were wildly inefficient. Too many yards of play. Couldn't get the success rate down because they couldn't stop the run. They were getting beat over the top. They weren't able to tackle, allowing too many pressures. I mean, woof. Not getting any pressures or getting sacks of the quarterback. You can see where that goes bad. Also, the Chicago offensive stuff really all came to life at the end of games. Now, granted, if you're a baller, ball is ball, and last second game-winning plays count as much as anything else. But man, maybe the Bears are not as good as I thought they were, or everyone thinks they are. We dig the South, kind of. We like the Saints. We're high in the Saints at the expense of the Panthers, which is the biggest disparity I have. I just don't know how they get to 7.5 wins. To me, that's like fucking patently insane. For real. I'm gonna bet that one. And then the West, we're pretty much right on the nose. Seahawks in front of the Niners. Niners getting to 11 wins, going to come down to health. Rams up to 10 wins, which you can easily see. Vegas has them at 11.5, so I guess we're a little shy on the Rams. Maybe we shouldn't be. I'm surprised. That number also surprised me also. Listen, getting to 12 wins is really fucking difficult in a tough division, but all right, I think that'll do it. Appreciate it for checking out the show. Please press like and subscribe. That shit matters like entirely more than it should. If you're into the baseball stuff, you've come to the right place, my friend. Check out all the live stuff. We're on air at 9 o'clock a.m. Monday through Saturday through the duration of the regular season. Not sure if I'm going to do the playoffs or not. I love MLB playoffs, but people expect me to have these really detailed, modeled, data-backed arguments like I do for everything else. Playoff stuff's not like that. You kind of default to the macro, and it's really narrative-based. It's the truth. Plus, the lines are extremely sharp. I don't think it's funny how many people wait until the MLB playoffs to start betting. That's when you should not be betting because the lines are so sharp. But anyway, if you could tell, we're very honest here. We are data-backed, do a lot of research, working really hard. Again, support the shit if you can. Find out what the hubbub is about, man. I think it's worth it. It's a absolute mountain of data, and it's all going to be laid out for you. I have some exclusive articles. We have some exclusive audio also. Plus, you're going to be getting the modeling, projections every week in optimal 150s every week. But I try not to tout the fact that we're doing bets. I don't want people to be like, I paid for bets and you're down. I've been a winning bettor, but there's no fucking guarantee. So I try and over-deliver with the tools. And if you're happen to be following along for the bets, hopefully we make money again. We did really well. I think there's still edge in that market. The reception ladder market is like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I got it right here. Just to give you an idea. Now, I'm not going to go compare it to my projections, but just to give you an idea of like what the hell I'm talking about. So these are live lines, right? These are 100% live. You can bet on these right now. Patriots and Seahawks are up. I tend to like to look for running back receptions, tight end receptions, or slot receiver receptions. You know, quick dump offs that you could rack up. They're also generally priced pretty well. Who's the wide receiver 3 for Seattle? I'd imagine it's Cooper Kupp. I think Shaheed is going to be getting the Z stuff. And if Kupp is healthy and just okay over the middle, I mean, could Cooper Kupp make 5 catches for 27 yards? Probably. Going to be a close game. New England's even good. What if New England gets way ahead and you see some preventative stuff? Could easily get the dump offs. Think in your head what the odds of Kupp getting 5 catches. He's plus 350. Could Kupp get 7 catches? That's plus 1,300. Fucking crazy. Could Hunter Henry get 5 grabs? Plus 375. I think so. Could Shaheed get 4 catches? Plus 250. I think so. How about Demario Douglas? I like this one too because no one ever considers Pop Douglas. Again, I have all kinds of slot work and we use alignment and zone protection to try and predict slot usage, go where the puck is going, not where it's been. And Douglas is the kind of guy that will spike in receptions sometimes. It's just a stylistic thing. Demario Douglas, 4 catches plus 400, 5 catches plus 900, 6 catches plus 1,700. Yo, tell me that's not crazy. Again, I don't know if he's going to get there. It's plus 1,600. You shouldn't be that confident over a plus 1,600. How confident are you ever about a plus 1,600? But the reason I mentioned it is, did he do it last year? He had 5 in the last week. Oh, funny, he had 5 against Seattle. So the last time the Patriots played fucking Seattle, right? In the Super Bowl, he had 5 catches. So there's a plus 900. So there's a player prop bet on your way out the door. I mean, when you think about it, all the people that are like betting sides, betting totals, it's minus 110, you gotta kill yourself. I just split my units and drop fucking dimes on everything, right? You drop 1/10 of a unit on that, drop 1/10 of a unit up these fucking ladders. If you end up in a spot where it ends up being like a big explosion game with tons of fucking completions, we've had games where we hit more than one all the way up the ladder, multiple 1,500 plus 1,500s in the same game, where like other people are trying to combine, right? Again, that's how idiots do it. Idiots they try and pair 9 different things that they think are very likely to happen. I'll pair one thing that is not very likely to happen, right? You don't pair one thing, you bet one thing. Anyways, let's get out of here. Show you a little bit of what we do. Hopefully you had some fun. Maybe learn something. Hopefully you're one of us. Remember, football's version of 300. Give the book nothing. Take from that bitch everything. It ain't madness, baby.
This is Sparta!
You're damn right it is, Leonidas. Usually, once you are into this thing of ours, you're fucking home. So I'll leave the line on for you. Make sure you're checking out all the work and the Twitter handle. Subscribe to the Substack if you can. And I think that'll do it. Yo, thanks for picking up what I'm putting down. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, winning feels a lot less like luck, yo. Peace out, everybody.